Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. Luke chapter 21 and verse 10 and 11. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak Kodash. Double honor to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. It's a brother Aharon coming back at you with another lesson, Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and I have an article, a couple of articles actually, and this is pretty much in the news. Okay, and I just want to bring that out real quick. Okay, I saw this news article, I believe it was yesterday, and as I'm reading through it, I was like, man, this is this smells like, looks and smells like 2019 into 2020 all over again. All right, we heard back in, I think it was later part of 2019 into early part of 2020, we first heard about the so-called virus called Corona, right? And how it started up in China and all that, and we could barely even say the word. We like Corona, we were tripping over the words and stuff. And lo and behold, it became the game changer. And this was 5 years ago. We are, if we go according to what these devils are planned, we are about almost 5 years away from 2030, which is where they say you own nothing and you'll be happy. So it makes sense when Gil Bates was hiding in those interviews talking about, the next one will get their attention with a little smirk behind it when he was sitting next to Uncle Melinda. All right, so we know, all right, we've been saying it, that, we got the whole World Health Organization One Accord Treaty thing that was finalized earlier this year. Okay, so we know that eventually they're gonna start their shit again. All right, the propaganda train is gonna pick up again. But it wasn't going to do that until they had the infrastructure set up that they're going to be able to use to enforce these new draconian mandates that's going to be coming down the pike very soon. All right. So this whole hysteria with the push for make America healthy again and all this extra stupid shit, we know it's a buildup for the next demic. OK, the next demic, because they're talking about being able to track your own health. OK, nobody asked for that. But the fact that they put it out there shows you that there's something that's about to happen that will require this new technology that they're building to actually play a role. Hence, problem, reaction, solution. But let's get into this real quick. All right. This is, it says China locks down virus wards and cuts power. Global travel alert as outbreak hits Americas. It says officials across China have implemented CV-era preventative measures across the country as the chikungunya virus outbreak continues to spread. So that's a new one, chikungunya. Okay. It says, and get ready, you might hear that a lot. Okay. It says over 7,000 cases. Back to the cases, right? 7,000 cases have been reported in the southern city of Foshan, while 12 other cities in the Guangdong province have reported at least 3,000 cases, bringing the national total to over 10,000. Now, 10,000 is nothing when you got over 2 billion people in your population. All right, but 10,000 is good enough to continue with that spread. And as we read, it'll make more sense. Okay, it says as a result of the rampant spread, patients in hospital wards are being covered with mosquito nets and are required to remain there for a week or until they test negative for the virus, if sooner. A chikungunya infection causes fever, joint pain, and, in severe cases, life-threatening complications involving the heart and brain. Interesting. Images show Chinese state workers spraying clouds of disinfectant around city streets, residential areas, and construction sites where people may come into contact with virus-bearing mosquitoes in or near standing water. Drones are being used to hunt down insect breeding grounds and spray insecticide, and residents and residents are being asked to empty bottles, flower pots, or other outdoor receptacles that may collect water. Interesting. Failure to comply. Listen to this. Listen to this. Failure to comply with any restriction may lead to fines of up to $1,400, which is equivalent to 10,000 yuan. And locals can have their electricity cut off according to state media. Okay? So if the Chinese model is a very attractive model, we can expect the things that's going on in China to come over here. And that includes the way they're treating the so-called virus, okay, the virus itself, let's not forget that, and the way they're going about so-called containing the virus. You could face fines for non-compliance and up to getting your electricity cut off. Okay, let's not neglect jail time as well, but this time it could be concentration camps. While it's unclear exactly where the infection began, the virus is now spreading across the world, and the CDC has issued a level 2 travel risk notice for Brazil, Colombia. Oh, Colombia. Oh, they try to take away Buzz happiness. Colombia. It says India, Mexico, Nigeria, Pakistan, the Philippines, Thailand, and China. Okay, that's crazy. It says no deaths have been reported, but those experiencing fevers, joint pain, or rashes are being asked to visit the nearest hospital so they can be tested for the virus. Chinese office employees have also been spotted spreading disinfectant around buildings before entering, a stark reminder of the controversial headline tactics used by the country to control the CVdemic in 2020. So they're replaying the same thing over again. All right. Reports from local media. Slack, let me just turn this off. There you go. Reports from local media have also emerged of attempts to stop the virus spread by breeding fish that eat mosquito larvae and even larger mosquitoes to eat the insects carrying the virus. Bruh, you hear this? And it's very interesting, and we're going to get to that, but it's very interesting that a few years ago you had this video. I'll see if I can find it and put in the post edits, right, of Gil Bates, all right, talking about looking like the damn Grim Reaper and shit. And it was like the Grim Reaper, and he had a sickle, and there was a whole bunch of mosquitoes, man. Like the Grim Reaper was made out of mosquitoes. I think that's what it was. Some crazy, creepy shit. Okay, and this guy has been spending millions of dollars into creating these GMO mosquitoes, man. All right, Gil Bates, that is. So it's very interesting that this concept of a mosquito-borne virus is spawning out of nowhere in China and different parts of the world. And this guy happened to be working on some virus that could be pushed out by mosquitoes. It's very interesting. Okay, but let's keep going. It says, additionally, officials had ordered travelers from Foshan to undergo a 14-day home quarantine similar to CV restrictions, but that has since been withdrawn. Chikungunya is primarily spread by the Aedes mosquitoes, the same species that carry dengue and Zika. It is rarely fatal, but can cause debilitating symptoms. Chikungunya infections are most common in Asia, Africa, and South America, though more recently cases have also emerged across Europe and the US. So it's perfect to be a global demic because it's pretty much affecting all the continents: Asia, Africa, South America, Europe, US. All your bases are covered. You don't need Antarctica. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody living over there, at least that we know of. All right. It says nearly 500,000 people were infected during a major outbreak in 2004-2005, which spread across Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Dr. Diane Rojas Alvarez, a medical officer with the World Health Organization, warned, quote, "We are seeing history repeating itself." There you go. She just gave you the blueprint. She gave you the playbook. What history are they talking about? You might think, oh, it happened in 2004-2005, so that's it. No. She's talking about the CV history. Okay, how everything played out. Okay, she says, referencing the scale of the earlier epidemic. Boom. A global spike in cases began in early 2025, with major outbreaks reported in the Indian Ocean islands of La Réunion, Mayotte, and Mauritius. According to the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control, around it says, according to the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control, CDPC, around 2,400 chikungunya cases and 90 related deaths have been recorded in 16 countries so far this year as of August 4th. The virus has also spread to Madagascar, Somalia, Kenya, and India, and is making its way to Europe. Case counts have also been increasing in Samoa, Tonga, French Polynesia, Fiji, and Kiribati. As of the latest update, on July 26, the Pan American Health Organization, otherwise abbreviated as PAHO, reports 47 cases of chikungunya infection in the U.S. this year. The CDC reports all the cases were contracted by travelers returning from high-risk areas. No deaths have been reported. Roughly 200 travel-related cases were reported in the U.S. in 2024, with no fatalities. According to the CDC, chikungunya was rarely detected in American travelers before 2006, but between 2006 and 2013, the U.S. logged around 30 imported cases a year, all in people who had recently visited infected regions in Asia, Africa, or the Indian Ocean. Damn, the Indian Ocean? In 2014, a total of 2,799 cases were reported, including 12 that were locally acquired in states and territories such as Florida, Texas, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, making it the country's worst year on record for the virus. This was back in 2014. A lot happened in 2014, 2015 too, okay? And a little bit of 2016 as well, right? With the whole Zika thing, right? It says Brazil has recorded the most cases as of August 2nd with 201,554 according to PAHO. Chikungunya is not spread through bodily fluids or saliva. It can only be transmitted by the bite of an infected mosquito. It says it also cannot be transmitted from person to person. Instead, the virus spreads when a mosquito bites an infected person, becomes a carrier, and then bites someone else. Though rarely fatal, chikungunya can cause a range of symptoms, most notably a sudden onset of fever and intense joint pain. Other common effects include muscle aches, headache, nausea, fatigue, and skin rash. Now, I have my own thoughts on these kind of symptoms, but they are very common symptoms, when it comes to these major or minor viruses that people be getting. Okay, getting a fever is a common thing. Headaches is a common thing. Nausea is a common thing. Fatigue is a common thing. Skin rash, after people who got the J's, skin rash has become a common thing. Okay, so it's good enough to cause a hysteria. Because now if somebody gets a headache and they're nauseating or they feel nausea at the same time, all of a sudden they I might be getting chikungunya. Oh shit, the chick. You began the chick, But this is just interesting how they're playing all this out right now in the month of August, as we're entering into the month of fall. The time of the fall months, right? You got September, October, November, the 3 fall months, the 3 fall months where they push a lot of these flu Vanessas and all kinds of dumb shit, right? It's very interesting. Now check this out, right? It says the acute phase of illness typically resolves within 1 to 2 weeks, but joint pain may linger for weeks, months, or even years in some cases. In rare instances, chikungunya infections can lead to severe complications affecting the eyes, heart, and nervous system. Interesting, because you had a lot of people who were just dying suddenly, and it was all heart problems, cardiac arrest after they took the jump shot. So it's very interesting that maybe the side effects of the jump shots is what we're about to start witnessing, because affecting the eyes, you have people who were saying that they'd be bleeding from their eyes, man, after they took the J. Okay, so we'll see, right? Skin rash and all that, we will see. All right, and the Lord's going to pass out a lot of judgment. And from the looks of things, if you get judged with some of these things, it's going to be very nasty, disgusting. Okay, disgusting. People talking a lot of shit. The Lord's about to start getting a lot of folks, man, a lot. Okay. It says newborns, seniors over 65, and people with underlying health issues face a higher risk of developing serious outcomes, including cardiovascular problems and, according to some studies, even type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure triggered by post-viral inflammation. Interesting. I thought diabetes was because of sugar. And now you can get bitten by a mosquito and then boom, you could get diabetes. That's interesting. Shit, that's crazy. Anyway, pregnant women who become infected near the time of delivery can also pass the virus to their baby during birth, which can result in severe illness in the newborn. Okay? There is no antiviral treatment for chikungunya, but symptoms can be managed with rest, plenty of fluids, and pain relief such as acetaminophen, right? So let's keep that in mind. Remember this. Today is what? Let me see. Today is August the 7th, right? 2025, okay? Let's keep that in mind because eventually they're going to come out and say, oh, we just came out with a Vanessa that could help fix this shit, right? But right now, as it stands, they said there is no antiviral treatment for this shit. You know what I'm saying? If you get the symptoms, the best thing to do is to get rest, drink a lot of fluids, and pain relief with acetaminophen or whatever. All right, you can go get you some willow bark and that'll help with the pain relief, okay? Or willow bark extract, all right? It says the CDC is urging Americans to ensure they are listen, what the fuck, nigga? The CDC is urging Americans to ensure they are vaccinated if they are at risk or at increased risk of exposure while traveling to countries experiencing an outbreak. This outbreak has nothing to do with Vanessa's though. So why are they pushing that as the only solution to any outbreak? If an outbreak is out there, just get your Vanessa. It says, that's crazy. I don't even want to read the rest of this shit because it's crazy. Anyway, let me just read it. It says, in late 2023, the FDA approved a Vanessa called IXCHIQ, which is, if you look at it, IX will represent 9, and then the CHIQ, chick, I guess, I don't know, for adults age 18 and older. And in February 2025, a second Vanessa, VIMKUNYA, Vimkunya, all right, approved for people aged 12 and up, was licensed. Both Vanessas are non-routine and recommended only for travelers heading to outbreak areas or for laboratory workers at risk. Okay, so, you know, of course, me being a conspiracy theorist, I went into this and looked up chikungunya. What are some key facts about chikungunya? Let's read. It says, chikungunya is a mosquito-borne viral disease caused by the chikungunya virus, which is CHIKV, okay? CHIKV, all right? So the CHIKV, all right? An RNA virus, okay? RNA virus in the alpha virus genus of the family Togaviridae. The name chikungunya derives from a word in the Kimakonde language of southern Tanzania, meaning that which bends up. 2020, we were trying to bend the curve. This time we're bending up the curve, huh? Okay. So that which bends up, that's the name that they went for it. That which bends up. And describes the contorted posture of infected people with severe joint pain. Okay. So it says here, it's a disease caused by the virus which is transmitted to humans by infected mosquitoes, with large outbreaks and sporadic cases reported mostly in the Americas, Asia, and Africa, and occasionally smaller outbreaks in Europe. The symptoms of chikungunya are similar to those of dengue and Zika, making chikungunya easy to misdiagnose and making it more difficult for countries to accurately determine the number of people infected. Boom. That's all you need. So this is a perfect thing for them to bring in the technology because it's hard to it's easy to misdiagnose. So now we need technology that can help with this problem. We can pinpoint who has what determine the amount of number of people that are infected in a given location or area or whatever the case may be, with the use and implementation of AI technology, tracking, tracing, all these different things. Okay? It says chikungunya causes fever and severe joint pain, which is often debilitating and may be prolonged. Other symptoms include joint swelling, muscle pain, headache, nausea, fatigue, and rash. There are currently 2 chikungunya vanessas that have received regulatory approvals in several countries and or have been recommended for use in populations at risk, but the vanessas are not yet widely available nor in widespread use. So eventually it will become. The HUDAT and external expert advisors are reviewing Vanessa trial and post-marketing data in the context of global chikungunya epidemiology to inform possible recommendations for use. There you go. So it's already in works. So you best believe they're going to come up with a Vanessa for this fucking thing that is supposed to be a mosquito-borne illness or virus. Okay? A mosquito-borne virus. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay? It says there is no specific antiviral treatment for chikungunya viruses or infections, but antipyrectic and analgesic medications such as paracetamol, which is mostly for malaria, right? Paracetamol is what you take for malaria. It says for fever and pain can be caused or can be used to alleviate these symptoms. Okay. Severe symptoms and deaths from chikungunya are rare and usually occur in young babies or elderly people with other coexisting health problems. So if you're an average person walking around, you really shouldn't be worried about this in case, oh, it might put me to death or it might put me to sleep. You don't have to worry about this, according to what they're saying, right? So now, the next thing I wanted to bring up here is the interesting link between this stuff here and Gil Babes. Okay, let's read. It says, inside a 2-story brick building in Medellin, Colombia, right? So this is in Colombia, right? Scientists work long hours in muggy labs breeding millions and millions of mosquitoes. They tend to the insects' every need as they grow from larvae to pupa, right, to adults, keeping the temperature just right and feeding them generous helpings of fish meal, sugar, and of course, blood. Only a devil is going to be in a lab cultivating mosquitoes, bro. Only a devil. Okay? It says then they release them across the country to breed with wild mosquitoes that can carry dengue and other viruses threatening to sicken and kill the population of Colombia. This might sound like the beginnings of a Hollywood writer horror film plot, but it's not. This factory is real. And the mosquitoes being released don't terrorize the local population. Far from it. They're actually helping to save and improve millions of lives. That's what they say. Here's how they do it. The mosquitoes being produced in this factory carry bacteria called Wolbachia, 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 right? That block them from transmitting dengue and other viruses such as Zika, chikungunya, and yellow fever to humans. By releasing them to reproduce with wild mosquitoes, they spread the bacteria. They spread the bacteria, reducing virus transmission and protecting millions of people from illnesses. I've written before about these amazing Wolbachia mosquitoes, including last year when a new study showed how effective they could be in preventing diseases. The randomized control trial conducted in these names are interesting. Yogyakarta. It says Yogyakarta. Right, I gave it the best I can. Right, Indonesia found that Wolbachia carrying mosquitoes reduced the number of dengue cases in the city by 77% and dengue hospitalizations by 86%. In a new study in Medellin, dengue cases. In a new study in Medellin, Dengue cases have declined by 89% since Wolbachia mosquitoes started being released in 2015. Okay, these results are a huge breakthrough, offering proof that this new technology will protect entire cities and countries against the threat of mosquito-borne diseases. The World Mosquito Program, the fuck, you got something like that? World Mosquito Program, which is leading the Wolbachia effort, is now releasing these mosquitoes in 11 countries: Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Australia, Fiji, Kiribati, New Caledonia, and Vanuatu. Now, it's very interesting how a lot of these countries that we just mentioned, that they're releasing the mosquitoes, are the same very countries that are actually suffering from this so-called chikungunya outbreak. Okay, it's very interesting. So they're trying to stop one thing, end up opening up a can of worms on another thing that they can't stop. Okay, it says, and what's remarkable about the Wolbachia mosquitoes is that once enough of them are released to offer disease protection, it's a solution that is self-sustaining. Over time, families will be spared the heartbreak of losing loved ones, and communities won't need to spend money on prevention and treatment for these mosquito-borne diseases, freeing up funds for other health priorities. Fucking crazy shit, man. That's crazy. Just reading through this article here just a little bit to see. It says the World Mosquito Team is also experimenting with releases from drones. You hear that? Yo, they got this shit. They could literally just use a whole bunch of mosquitoes to start shit. Yo, it's crazy. So they release them from drones. The adult releases allow the Wolbachia mosquitoes to immediately begin mating with the wild mosquito population and spreading the virus-blocking bacteria. You could just take away the word blocking and just leave it as spreading the virus bacteria, because that's exactly what they're doing. Okay? That's exactly what they're doing. I'm going to leave it off there because this is too much. All right, let me get this real quick and we're going to close it out. There's a book of 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Okay, so to create a whole army of mosquitoes, talking about we're going to use that to stop or kill off virus mosquitoes and shit, that's all BS. Okay, and who's behind all this? None other than Gil Bates himself. Okay, so it's just something I found very interesting. All right, this whole outbreak that's happening. The news is not really talking about it too much, but in China, they're doing something about it. All right, people getting their electricity cut off and, being quarantined and all kinds of stuff, facing fines. Okay, so yeah, man, we'll see. We'll see how this thing plays out. But just understand that they go by the same playbook every single time. All right, every single time. But anyway, I'm going to leave it off there. Lord willing, you are edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Ruach HaKodesh, the Wadi Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai. Until next time, Shalom.